What's up guys, it's Jason here, and today I have my very first tech review video. Now, I've never done a tech review video. I've never reviewed anything, actually, for that matter. But I think this is what I want to start doing on this channel. I think it's gonna be more tech reviews, like the newest laptops, the newest smartphones. Just because I do have a undying passion for tech. Like, I've always loved tech as a kid, and yeah, I just want to share that love with all y'all. So today, this will be the first one. Bear with me, because this is my first review ever, but I'm about to get right into it. I'm already tripping. So today I'm gonna be reviewing my new phone, the iPhone 14 Pro Max. It is the newest version of the iPhone. So far, I like it. I've had it for about a month now. I've been rocking with it. It's my daily driver and it's performing pretty well. I'm coming from an iPhone 12 Pro Max. So my first impressions of the device, the camera hump on the back was a lot bigger than on 12, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot bigger than it was on the 13 also. It is pretty big. Like, it's just pretty big. That's not a big problem to me, honestly. I know some of the other people that are out there may be really into the phones and might not like the camera hump. To me, it wasn't that big a deal. Another thing, if you flip the phone around, I did notice that we now have the dynamic island. I was super excited about the dynamic island because I've seen them on like other devices, like on Android devices, but I use iPhones. I'm an iPhone user. So I was like, when are we gonna get this dynamic island? I thought we were gonna have it on the 13, but they kept the notch. And the notch was just, it wasn't like a pain to look at, but it was just like, I wanted the dynamic island. So I'm happy that they finally adopted that idea. But we're gonna get more into that later on in the video. Now, another thing, I am rocking the newest color of iPhone, the deep purple version. There is a space black, deep purple, gold, and silver version of the iPhone 14 Pro, just the Pro models. I had to go with the deep purple version because I always gotta get the different, and it's new. It's the newest one and it's different. I mean, I will say it looks pretty amazing. Like, the deep purple looks great. I almost went with the space black, but I decided not to. It's almost like a smoky gray when you take it out the box if you don't have the right lighting. But then when the light hits it though, like when the light hits it, I hope you can see. You just get flashes of purple everywhere and it just looks amazing. It looks great. Flipping over to the display side, we still have the same 6.7 inch 120 hertz ProMotion display that we had on 13. But now, like I said earlier, we do have this dynamic island on the front of the phone, and it looks amazing. I think it looks great. And when I first took out the box, I did notice, so I turned it on and then I tried to lock the phone for the first time and unlock it. We now have a new always on display. This caught me off guard because coming from a 12 Pro Max, it wasn't even a thing yet. So now I got a 14, so I'm trying to lock the phone and it's like the screen isn't locking. I'm thinking that the phone is always on. Well, it technically is, but it's not, because it doesn't respond. Like, if you look at it, it won't brighten up or anything like that. You have to touch it or hit the unlock button for the screen to brighten, because the always on display, it is just a dimmer version of whatever you have on the screen. It's not like some of Android's always on displays where you only see the clock. You will still see color, you will still see your wallpaper and everything like that, and you will still see notifications too if you get notifications. Honestly, when I had the always on display on, it was a bit of a distraction because I just couldn't focus on, like, if I'm sitting at my desk working and my phone's like right here. So it's in my phone's right here and I'm typing. I'm always like, I'm just constantly looking at the phone. If you get like a notification, it's always like like it's going to show. So I did take it off. I don't hate the idea. I like it. It's beautiful. It looks good. But I mean, it was just a distraction to me. Another thing that I was worried about when I seen them always on display, also before I took it off, I was constantly thinking, like, in the back of my head, I was like, man, is it killing the battery? Like, is it killing my phone battery? I was worried about that. I'm like, man, is it killing my phone battery? Because the display is always on. But Apple claimed that it doesn't affect the phone battery that much. Apparently, they just dropped the refresh rate for the phone down to 1 hertz and call it a day. So 1 hertz isn't really doing nothing to the battery for real. We will be testing this out in a day in life video with the iPhone 14 Pro Max that I will be doing on this channel. So if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss none of the new tech videos, none of the new tech updates, because they're coming. Another thing I noticed offered about the iPhone 14 Pro Max display is the brightness. Like, it's crazy bright. Like, It's pretty bright. On average, like you unlock the phone, don't touch the brightness settings at all. The phone's gonna be sitting at about 1,000 nits of brightness, okay? You turn the phone all the way up, the HDR display all the way up, you got about 1,600 nits of brightness, right? But in direct sunlight, like an area, you got like a lot of windows, a lot of sun coming in, or you're outside at a park maybe, you're gonna get 2,000 nits of brightness. It's pretty bright. Like you don't have to worry about seeing any glare, any reflections, none like that, because the phone display, it holds up. Inside the phone, we are rocking with the new A16 Bionic chip, and it's gonna be good for just overall performance of the device, battery life, etc. Apple is claiming that we do get a whole 24 hours of, well, over 24 hours of battery life without needing to charge. So once again, I'm gonna be pushing these to the limit. I'm gonna be testing all this out in my day in life with iPhone 14 Pro Max. So subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss a beat. And of course, I'm pretty sure we've all heard about this. We did get some major improvements to the camera. We now have a 48 megapixel main camera, whereas we had a 12 megapixel main camera on the 13 models. That's 4 times the megapixels from the 13 Pro Max. Now this all means that you'll have sharper, more detailed images if you're zooming in to take a picture, or if you're taking a picture from your gallery and have to crop it or zoom into it. The photo will maintain its detail. Now we do have 0.5, 1x zoom. We did get 2x zoom back, because I know that was a big thing. When Apple took away 2x zoom, people were pretty upset about that. And 3x zoom. And like I said, all of those will look great with these 48 megapixel sensors, because the more you zoom in, you're gonna still have all that detail and all that sharpness in the video. I mean, in your pictures. Now we did get a bit of an upgrade to the front camera also. Now for the first time, Apple has autofocus on the front camera. And this is great for people like me, and if you're a content creator, people like you also. With the rise of TikTok and just all things social media, if you're recording yourself with your phone, you're gonna appreciate that autofocus. Now cinematic mode did also get some upgrades. So we can still shoot 1080p in 24 or 30 frames per second, but now we can also shoot 4K in 24, 30, and is it 60? Do we get 60 frames? No, we don't. Now there's also a new action mode. Action mode, the best way for me to sum it up is for me to show you. So pretty much action mode is, if you were to put your phone on a gimbal, that extremely smooth, stabilized video, that's what you're gonna be getting. But it is some drawbacks. You do get a lot of noise. You get a ton of noise when you go into action mode. It does require a lot of light, so I feel like it's for more outdoor daytime shooting, because if you don't have enough light, it won't work. Now in action mode, you can shoot 1080p in 30 or 60 frames per second, or 2.8K in 30 or 60 frames per second. There is no 4K in action mode. Now let's talk about this dynamic island. So the dynamic island, in my eyes, I love it. I'm happy that they finally made use of the front camera notch, and they made it interactive. So it's like a bubble. If you have music playing, the dynamic island will grow, and it'll show like a small picture of the album cover, and it'll have like little wavelengths next to the camera to show like there's music playing. If you connect your AirPods, it'll show that your AirPods are connected. If you're getting an AirDrop, if you use Face ID, all of these things, the dynamic island shows you icons for all of them. So if you have apps open, such as like a timer in the background or music, as I said before, you can long press the dynamic island. It'll make it interactive. Like you can stop the timer, start the timer, end the timer, or you can change songs, pause the songs without having to swipe down, or go back to that app for that matter and do whatever you gotta do. And I think that's pretty dope. I like that. There's 2 drawbacks. So for me, I have the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So it's a big phone. So it's a bit of a reach to get up there to that dynamic island if I want to use it to interact with other apps. Now on the 14 Pro models, it's not hard at all to reach. So it's kind of more convenient on the Pro models. If you have a bigger hand, then yeah, go for the Pro Max. Like I got a pretty big hand, but still it's still kind of a reach though. You might have to use it 2-hand on the device and do what you gotta do. Another thing though, because they made the dynamic island interactive, when you're touching it to hit play or pause or start a timer or whatever you're doing, your camera's still there. So you might get a lot of camera blur if you don't wipe the camera frequently. So if you have oils on your hands or anything, if you're touching up there all the time, your camera's gonna get a bit of a blur. sometimes. So if you don't remember to wipe that camera off, you start taking a selfie or something like that. But other than that though, dynamic island for me, 9 out of 10. Only because the blur. But yeah, man, this is my quick overview slash review of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I have been using it for about a week now. So I like it. I'm loving it so far. I'm dropping more tech content for you guys. We are doing a day in life video with this phone so you can see how it is to live with this phone and use it on a day-to-day. Like I said 2 times already. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. Hit the bell so you don't miss nothing. Hope y'all like this video. More tech content on the way. I'm gonna see y'all then.